Today, we are McCann World Group, and we brought for you a presentation that is driving innovation through design sprint and creativity. But before we jump into the presentation, we thought about telling you a little more about ourselves. I'm Álvaro Cunio, Executive Business Director. I have been my whole career in McCann World Group. I'm dealing and managing the global businesses that we run from Spain, like Starbucks at Home, Nesquik, and other global brands that we run from here. And I am a true believer of the power of creativity. And that's exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm here today with Ignacio. Ignacio.
Hi, all. Nice to meet you. So I've been with McCann for quite a few years. Then I left McCann, and I was actually an entrepreneur. So I've had 2 startups on my belt. Not too long ago, I was here pitching my startup. Then I moved to the US. I was based out of New York, where we were continuing the adventure. I think in the process, we learned a bunch of things. And today, I would like to share with you one of the things that I've learned personally, that I've used personally, that it's sort of known, but not actually used, or not all that known. And I would love to share with you, and hopefully, it may be of use for your projects.
Fantastic. So we would like to start today by saying that we are excited to be here, because this is the first year that we come as an strategic partner of the South Summit. In fact, I think that we are the only global marketing communication group that is here today. And that means something that is really important for us. But in a meeting like this one, in a big event like this one, where big corporations, VCs are meeting and creating network with startups, what's the role of a global communication marketing agency? That's the first question that we ask ourselves, which is the value that we can add for being here today with you. And we try to bring you a video that shows a little, it's going to give you some cues to find the response to that. So we brought this video for 2 reasons. The first one is because it gives you a lot of cues of why we are here, and it also helps us to elevate the mood, right? I saw some people entering there who were dancing, so we tried to kind of combine that. And the reason why we are here is because we would like to reclaim the importance of creativity in innovation. Creativity has been on the DNA of McCann World for 93 years. 93 years where we have been helping brands to play a meaningful role in people's life. And we did a little play on words here, because most of you will know the phrase that an image is worth 1,000 words, right? We think that in some cases, some words, a couple of words, can mean 1,000 images, maybe millions. Because when I ask you, and when I started speaking about priceless, who in this room is thinking about MasterCard? Come on, help me out and elevate your hands. When you hear priceless, who is thinking about MasterCard? Most of you, right? When we think about You Worth It, who thinks about L'Oreal? Hands up. This is a wonderful audience. So exactly. So there are words who are worth millions of images. And that's some of the platforms that we have been building for some of the most iconic brands globally. But today, we are here to show you a more unknown side of McCann Walloon, which is how we help them also to innovate. Same as we did with MasterCard, helping them to create cards for blind people. Same way we help UPS in the States to help them revamp the way they are using mailing system. Same way we help IKEA to create accessories so disabled people can use IKEA product in their daily life. So that's the job that we have for you today.
Thank you, Alvaro. So Alvaro has shared with you thoughts about creativity. And the one thing that I'd say about creativity, it is hard work. It's very hard work. It's not about inspiration. It's not about having a few drinks with a bunch of colleagues at the pub and then coming up with a big idea. I've been with McCann for many, many years. I've seen creative teams develop their work, and it takes very hard work and discipline and process and procedure. What I want to talk to you about is about innovation. Many times we mistake the use of technology for innovation. And just applying the technology is not going to make your project, your process, your company more innovative. It's about changing things. So since innovation is a fairly large word, I'll share with you what I mean by innovation. It's about growth. It's about the growth that you would not experience unless you innovate. It's about incremental growth. And increasingly, it's about speed. And speed is an asset in itself. Look, all businesses are moving so incredibly fast that being able to move fast is in itself an asset for companies. So these are two of the thoughts that I'd like to share with you. Let's talk about speed. In this chart, what you see is three very well-known companies. And on the left-hand side of the chart, what you see is how long it took these companies to gain their first $1 billion in sales. And on the right-hand side, you see how long it's taken them today to build the latest. So Amazon, it took Amazon 5 years to get a turnover of $1 billion. Today, it does it in 2 days. So they've speed up a lot their ability to gain incremental revenue. It took IBM 79 years to achieve their first $1 billion. Now it takes them less than 5 days. And it took BlackBerry 20 years to achieve their first one. They don't do it anymore. Okay, BlackBerry's gone. I was a fan of BlackBerry, and I still remember Barack Obama saying, "I will not be a president without my BlackBerry." The president of the United States, can you believe that? I mean, it doesn't get it, but how much better than an influencer can you get than that guy? Mm-hmm. And still, they're out of the business. So the point of the story is, this is increasingly getting faster. And if you are a startup like Amazon was, yes, you can get it done. If you're an old company or a legacy company like IBM, yes, you can get it done. And the fact that you're a very savvy technological company and a startup at the time, like RAM with BlackBerry, does not guarantee that you're going to be able to do it in the future. For those of you who like trivia business, the fastest company to turn their first $1 billion was Booking Holdings, and they did it in 3 years. Now, here's the issue. In Spain, we dedicate 44% less resources to innovation than our peers in the European community. And many of you here are not from Spain. Many are from other markets. I challenge you that probably there are other markets in Asia Pacific and especially in the US who can still dedicate more resources than your own local markets. And there are three things basically that I'll share with you about this. One is this is increasingly faster. And I've been in business for many, many years. I've been on the corporate side. I've been on the startup side. And the one thing that never ceases to amaze me is how much faster this goes every year. Two, it is uncertain. No one has a perfect tool to say this is how you innovate and this is how you achieve growth. I have not seen it. What I'm going to be sharing with you today, it's a book, and it's not written by me, and it's the best that I found. But look, it's all subject to interpretation and to iteration. And thirdly, back to the first point, creativity and innovation, it is a science, it's not an art. It uses the scientific method of iteration and validation and going back at it. And that's the way that it should be done. So the foundation of what we're sharing with you today was published in 2016. How many of you have read this book? How many of you use it? Okay. Look, this is the foundation of what we're going to be sharing. So Design Sprint is a process that was developed by Google Ventures, and it was created earlier than 2016, in 2010, and then it was published by Jake Knapp in 2016. And in essence, is a 4-day process to solve big challenges, create new products, or improve already existing ones. So what we do is we compress in several months of work into a few days. For those of you who are thinking Ignacio is wrong, it's 5 days, well, there's an update. The practice that we follow is one that Jake Knapp and AJ Smart, a company from Berlin, developed a few years back, and it took 20% of the time off. So now it's done in 4 days instead of 5 days. Some of you may be thinking, oh, that's design thinking, right? That's, it's been around forever. Or we already do agile sprints. And the answer is no and no. So here's a brief update on this. Look, design thinking came up in the 1980s. And probably the agency that we all have in mind, or the operator that we all have in mind, is IDEO. It was an agency out of San Francisco. And it was a company that basically promoted the idea of let's be creative when we go to problem solving, and it doesn't matter what problem are you trying to solve. It can be engineering, or it could be manufacturing, or it could be production. It doesn't matter, but you can be as creative as normally you would expect of an agency like McCann. Then a bunch of software developers produced the Agile Manifesto in 2001, and that's the foundation for the Agile that many of us know and use today. And in essence, this is about project management. And the nature of this, or the origin of this, was basically, let's write software differently. So it doesn't have to be from A to Z linearly. We can break this into different projects and do them simultaneously. So in essence, agile sprints are about project management. Design sprint came later on. And it is a process. And it is a tool that you can use, and you should be using, when you're trying to gain speed and in incremental growth. So why use it? Look, this is the simplest way that I can serve this in just a few minutes is, in theory, there's no difference between theory and practice, but in practice there is. So it boils down to that moment when everyone in the meeting room has gone, and you're back in the agency, or you're back in the office, or you're back in your startup with your colleagues and say, okay, how do we get it done? This is it, yeah? Here's the theory for every project that you've ever seen in your life. There's an idea, then we take it into production, we will launch it, we will gain data, and we will improve the idea every time that we do this iteration. This is the theory. And it doesn't matter which business you're doing or how big your company is, but this is the theory. Now in practice, this looks more like it. And tell me if you have experienced this yourself. So you have the idea, you take the idea, but it takes forever to go into production. And it slows down, and then, hey, someone from marketing said that they had a better idea, or that they've done something similar in the past, and they'd like to take a look at it. Oh, and there's this VP who's super important, and she said this, and guys, you need to listen to, and this starts taking place, and your idea becomes slowly moving into production. And then production comes in, and boy, do we have issues. No, I can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? Nope, because it's not in our system. Well, we're doing a pilot test. What? No, you can't do that. Or this goes against the rules, or this goes against, oh, we have something in mind, we're starting a venture with whoever, so this is going to create a conflict. And so production itself takes, you see the process, yeah? So what comes up is unforeseen complexities, more opinions, little or no data. And at that point, the team is unclear as to what are we trying to innovate for. And this is the main issue, is we're forced to innovate by intuition instead of by data. So when you have the data, you know exactly what you need to do, because you're given feedback. When you don't have that data, then you have to fly by the seat of your pants. So in essence, design sprint is about, you have an idea and you test it immediately to gain data. And when you get that data, you go back to the idea. And that iteration, the more you do it and the faster you do it, the richer it gets. Let me just share with you a few principles of design sprint that are relevant. One is this idea of together alone. Look, we're all human beings. We're social beings. That has pros and that has cons. There are biases in all of us. So the moment that you sit in a room, you are pro or against some of the people who are with you in the room. And if you have been working together for a long time, boy, is that true. So there are biases. Brainstorming is normally, I'm sure we've all done plenty of brainstorming in our lives. Brainstorming tends to be normally about who is the loudest. I have the speaker now, so I can impose my ideas, or who's the most articulate. Those of us who have been doing presentations for many years and who have been trained in sales and in marketing, we tend to be more articulate. That doesn't mean that we're smarter. There are plenty of colleagues that I've met in my life who are more kept to themselves, and boy, did they have good brains. So this is all about bringing those ideas together, but individually, one by one. And each person will have the opportunity to develop and to present their idea with all the relevant details. Principle number 2 is tangible discussions about ideas. It's better than discussions in general. And everything that is done on design is based on this principle. So all those social dynamics are tried to be pushed away so that there is no gridlock. And 2, this concept of silent voting. So every step of the way, there are going to be moments when there is a fork, and a decision needs to be taken. And what the team will do at that moment, the team working on the design sprint, what they will do is they will do a silent voting. So you're not going to know exactly, this is like when you go to vote for the elections. So the rest of the guys not necessarily know who are you voting for, but you're expressing your vote. Mind you, this is not what the Americans would call kumbaya. So this is not, okay, so we're all even, we all take the decision equally. No way. Companies are structured vertically. There are decision makers. And there are people who are more senior in the structure, and therefore these are the ones who are going to be taking the decision. Likewise here. What the team is going to do with that voting is inform that person so that he or she can take a better decision. But it's not about democratic development. Normally that takes nowhere, okay? 3, it's about getting started versus being right. You're not going to get it right, not at the first time. There's no way on earth. I've never seen it. And if you crack it, then please call me, because I'll give you a medal myself. It doesn't work that way. It's about when you go on a journey, when you go, say you go with your colleagues and you go skiing or you go to a forest, every step that you take along the way gives you a better perspective. And when you start moving, you have a better understanding of your surroundings. If you're quietly sitting on your place, then you're never going to have a good understanding of what's going on. Same principle applies here, okay? So it's a step-by-step process. Every new step provides new information and better perspective to the team. And there's more value in actually completing those steps than in trying to accurately hit it on the first one. Now, Alvaro was talking about creativity. And as I said before, the one thing that I know about creativity, having spent many years with creative teams, is it is hard work. So if you leave it all to creativity, if you leave it all to some genius coming up with a great idea at the last moment, I'm sorry, you're dead. That's not going to happen. So design sprint is about creating the environment and the stimuli so that the best ideas are created together by that team. But it's not going to be, oh, I need to be super creative to get this done. It's not that. It's about process and it's about procedure. Now, here's the structure of, what does this look like? Okay, so here's a step-by-step process of what it looks like. One is, on the first day, what you're going to do is you're going to define the challenge. And many times when I explain these, people eye roll me and go like, duh. Look, how many times have you not gone into a room and have a heated discussion with clients or with team, it doesn't matter. And then you leave the room and you're like, okay, so what do we agree on? What's the point? What are we going to be doing next? This is of the essence. And I think one of the key collateral benefits of this procedure is aligning the team. And if you guys are working remotely, and most of us are increasingly doing so, this is probably one of the best benefits that you can have of applying this procedure. It's about getting everyone to understand exactly what we're working for, have the same vision, the same idea, the same understanding, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we all share that common goal. So let me underscore that because it's extremely important. Some ideas so that you get a better understanding for how this works. First, we're going to think about the long term. So one of the things that we will say is, think about your project, think about your process, think about your goal. If it were perfect, if it were just rosy and everything will go your way, what will your company or what will your project look like 2 years down the road? And that's your grand vision. And that's flaring. And what we're going to do afterwards is we're going to do the opposite. We're going to do focusing. And what we're going to say is be as pessimistic as you can. What are the challenges that will prevent you from achieving that goal? So you've dreamed about your perfect project in 2 years down the road. Now think backwards and think, what are the key challenges that you need to overcome to achieve that goal? That is going to be the focus of the sprint. So we're going to choose one of those handicaps, one of those challenges that are preventing you from achieving the success that you expect, and we're going to focus the next 4 days in building a solution for that challenge and testing it and getting results for it. That's a sprint. Later in the day, what you're going to do is you're going to search and reapply, basically. This is a phrase that I learned many, many years ago with Procter & Gamble. Look, don't be shy. Everything is out there and it's available for you. So you can go to other companies and you can go to other entrepreneurs and you can go to other startups and you can go to other established companies and get ideas from them. Steal them. They're out there. Look, this is a book that was written many years ago and I'm using it for my own purpose and that of my clients. So don't be shy about it. Bring those demos into your team and show them how other people are solving some of those problems. And then by the end of the day, and this is day one, we're designing a concept. So we started the day, different group of people, different understandings, each one has a different idea. The next step that we've taken is everybody is aligned. Everybody's thinking exactly on what is the problem that we need to solve. And by the end of the day, we already have some ideas on how we can do it. So the following day, we're going to edit those solutions and we're going to vote them. This idea of the heat map is, it take a little bit longer to explain, but think of it as a journey, a customer journey. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to identify where this big challenge that you identified sits. From the moment that I learn about your solution to the moment that I actually buy it and maybe advise other people to purchase it, where is this challenge? Where does it fit? So that's the heat map. We're going to pitch the solutions the way that we would normally do it with any other startup, and we'll take a vote. And this is what we call a straw poll. The idea is to indicate to the decision maker, where does the team lean to? Where do we think this leans to? But again, he or she is going to be the final decision. He's going to take the final decision, and that's the decider voting. At the end of that day, we're starting to do a prototype or a storyboard so the prototype can be built. Now, a storyboard. Ignacio, that sounds like super creative. Forget it. It's literally like writing a letter. You don't have to be a creative. You don't have to know how to draw. What you need to do is basically sit down with this piece of paper and put your idea into a piece of paper so that another human being can understand it. That's all there is to it. And the other misconception, if you will, is that this is basically for digital companies only or for digital products. Not the case. We can do this, we can prototype just about anything, even Elon Musk's rockets and whatnot. So the third day is about building the prototype, and the fourth day is about testing that prototype. And one thing that I'll share with you so that we can move on time. Look, with 5 people, with 5 actual customers, and this is pure statistics. For those of you who took Statistics 101 in college, this is it. 5 people, you show your prototype to 5 people, you get 80% of the learnings. You don't need to show it to anyone else. From then onwards, you're fighting a lot for 20% of incremental learnings. Not needed. 5 people, real customers who touch a product that feels and looks and feels as if it is real, it's good enough. Who needs to be in the room? Basically, these people. One is the decider. He or she is the person who, is your project manager, your product manager, your CEO, your marketing, your CMO. He or she is a person who has the decision veto, if you will, in your company. 2 is the facilitator. It could be someone like me, like Alvaro, like many people at McCann, who are going to help you get this process started in your company. There's a need for a designer, someone who needs to build these ideas and create that prototype. So it could be digital or it could be physical, but there's got to be someone who turns these ideas. There's a person that we call the voice of the customer. So someone who can, he or she may be coming from customer service, or they may be coming from sales, or they may be in one of the stores. So it's someone who has had sufficient interactions with customers to say, I think it's going to go this way, or they're going to feel this way. That's the idea here. And then several people from the team. You don't want to have more than 8 people in the design sprint team. 8 people is good enough. More than that, you start getting a committee. And what's highly important is that you have a stopper. So in every company, there's always a stopper. There's always someone who's going to stop your project from moving forward. It's important to have them on board. And we can help you basically these 2 ways. Either help you to get this done so we can innovate with you, or we can help you educate, we can help train your people so that they learn this procedure and they can run it themselves. And I'll hand it over to Alvaro.
Thanks a lot. So we show you at the very beginning that we are here to reclaim the importance of creativity, and we show you the way we innovate. And now we want to show you one example, and we're going to be 1 minute behind the schedule, but I'm sure that they will allow us to put this example for you.
I'm surrounded with furniture crying out, cripple. I'd like to sit on a regular sofa without being afraid I won't be able to get up.
IKEA's vision is to create a better everyday life for the many. These tables give simple and affordable home furnishings for 10% of the population.
Every child, every person is different depending on their needs.
Disability drives innovation.
Even in some of our public libraries, there's 3D printers.
A lot of the solutions, they've been very medicalized down through the years, and nothing as cool as anything you've produced.
ועכשיו אנחנו רוצים להראות לכם יוזמה מיוחדת של רשת איקאה שנקראת Disabled.
יוזמה חשובה שתקל על אנשים עם מוגבלויות איקאה, עם ארגון נגישות.
So this is where this is when the magics happen, when you meet creativity through innovation. And to finalize, we said that this is the first time that McCann World Group is here as a strategic partner of the South Summit. Creativity is here to stay, and McCann World Group is here to make sure that it's represented every single year. Thanks a lot to you all.